Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me now. There comes a moment in life when you have to stop running after what was never meant to be caught. There comes a moment when you must stop lowering yourself, pleading for what you already deserve. There comes a moment when you understand that silence, your stillness, your discipline, your refusal to be shaken, speaks louder than any argument, louder than any defense, louder than any explanation you could ever give. We live in a world where everybody's shouting, everybody's talking, everybody wants to prove something, show something, explain something. But when you carry yourself with true power, when you know who you are and where you're going, you don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to explain. Your silence becomes your answer. Your silence becomes your strength. You see, chasing is for those who believe what they want is running away from them. But when you walk in purpose, what's meant for you is already walking toward you. Every step you take with confidence, every choice you make with clarity, pulls the right people, the right opportunities, the right doors closer to your path. You don't need to sprint after them. You don't need to exhaust yourself. You don't need to compromise your dignity just to get someone to notice you. What is yours will not miss you. Begging, no. A king doesn't beg. A queen doesn't beg. When you know your worth, you don't have to plead with anyone to see it. If they can't recognize the value you carry, it is not your job to convince them. The gold does not cry out to the miner, "Please dig me up." The diamond does not beg to be chosen. It sits in silence, knowing its brilliance is inevitable. That's how you must be, firm, unmoved, secure in your value, and explaining, "Listen, sometimes the greatest proof of your truth is your refusal to defend it." People will misunderstand you, they will doubt you, they will whisper, they will talk. But when you know your heart, when you know your vision, when you know your intention, you don't waste breath trying to persuade doubters. You just keep building, you keep working, you keep rising, and when the results show up, when the fruit of your labor appears, your silence will echo louder than every rumor, louder than every critic, louder than every voice that tried to bring you down. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is power, because silence means discipline. It means control. It means you've mastered the art of not reacting, the art of not giving your energy to every distraction, every provocation, every voice demanding a response. Silence says, "I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I don't need to prove it to you. Watch me." That's why I tell you never chase, never beg, never explain. Stand tall, stand calm, and let your silence do the talking. What's meant for you will not miss you. That's not just a phrase, that's a law of life. Too many times, people exhaust themselves chasing after things that were never designed to stay. They run, they plead, they push, all in the hope that by their effort alone they can force destiny to bend. But here's the truth: when something has your name on it, when something is written into the script of your life, it does not require you to chase it down like prey. It will arrive, it will align, it will unfold in the right place at the right time in the right season. This is where faith comes in. This is where patience is tested. We think if we don't run harder, shout louder, beg stronger, that somehow we'll miss our chance. But the reality is, what belongs to you will always find its way into your hands. You don't need to force it. You don't need to compromise your dignity. You don't need to lose sleep wondering if someone else will take what was meant for you. Understand this: opportunities that are truly yours are not transferable. Relationships that are truly for you cannot be stolen. Doors that were built for you cannot be shut by another hand. But here's the challenge: your timing and life's timing are not always the same. We want things right now. We want the relationship today, the breakthrough tomorrow, the recognition immediately. And when it doesn't come in our time frame, we panic. We start chasing, chasing, chasing. And in that chasing, we step out of alignment. We accept less than we deserve. We settle for what glitters instead of waiting for the gold. That's why you have to remind yourself: patience is not punishment. Delay is not denial. Waiting is not wasting time. Waiting is positioning. When you hold this perspective, peace enters the equation. You stop looking at other people's lives like they're a mirror of your lack. Just because they got theirs now doesn't mean you've been overlooked. Just because they're shining today doesn't mean your light won't shine tomorrow. What's meant for you has its own timing, its own delivery, its own arrival. And when it comes with a weight, with a permanence, with a certainty that chasing could never achieve. So you walk with calm, you carry yourself with assurance, you don't beg for opportunities to notice you. You prepare yourself, you work on your craft, you sharpen your mind, you keep building quietly. Because when the thing that's meant for you shows up, it needs to find you ready, and the beauty is, you won't have to fight for it, you won't have to manipulate it, you won't have to plead for it. It will be yours because it was always yours. Your value does not require validation. Too often, people live their lives waiting for someone else to stamp them with approval, waiting for a parent, a boss, a partner, or even strangers to confirm what they already know deep down, that they are enough. But the moment you put your worth in the hands of others, you've already surrendered your power. Because opinions change, perspectives shift, and people are inconsistent. If your sense of self is built on their recognition, then every time they doubt you, you'll doubt yourself. Every time they overlook you, you'll overlook yourself. Value is not something that comes from the outside in. It comes from the inside out. You were born with it. Nothing can add to it, and nothing can take it away. The world tries to convince you otherwise. Social media tells you that likes determine your importance. Work environments sometimes act like your title defines your intelligence. Relationships might make you feel like love has to be earned. But here's the truth. Whether anyone acknowledges it or not, you already carry value. Diamonds do not lose their worth because someone fails to recognize them. Gold does not stop being gold because it's buried underground. And you do not stop being worthy because people don't see you. When you know this, you stop explaining yourself. You stop shrinking in rooms where others don't clap for you. You stop forcing people to recognize what they are not capable of seeing. Sometimes blindness in others has nothing to do with your brilliance. It has everything to do with their limited vision. That's why chasing approval becomes dangerous. The more you chase it, the more you shift into something you're not, trying to fit into boxes you were never designed to fit. And the tragedy is, even when you finally earn that approval, you'll feel empty because you had to trade authenticity to get it. But when you stand firm in your value, you no longer need applause to keep going. You no longer need validation to move forward. You can handle being overlooked without questioning your worth. You can handle rejection without thinking you are less. That's when you move from dependency to freedom. That's when silence becomes powerful, because you no longer feel the need to explain your choices, your dreams, your vision. You're not asking for permission, you're not waiting for confirmation. You know who you are. You know what you carry, and whether the world sees it today or 10 years from now, it doesn't change the truth that your value was never up for debate. Results speak louder than explanations. In this world, people will question you, doubt you, criticize you, and sometimes even laugh at you. They'll want to know why you made that choice, why you took that path, why you're moving in silence when everyone else is chasing noise. And the temptation will always be there to defend yourself, to justify yourself, to explain your every move. But explanations are fragile, words can be twisted, arguments can be ignored. Explanations often fall on ears that were never open to hear the truth in the first place. What cannot be denied, what cannot be debated, what cannot be silenced are results. When you focus on your work, when you give yourself to the grind, when you stay consistent and disciplined, results start to appear. And when they do, they shout louder than any speech you could ever give. They silence the critic, they quiet the doubter, they remove the need for you to convince anyone of anything. Results carry their own authority. They walk into a room before you speak. They testify on your behalf without you ever saying a word. That is why energy wasted on constant explanation is better invested in relentless execution. Explanations often come from insecurity, the feeling that people won't believe in you unless you can talk them into it. But belief doesn't come from words, it comes from proof. It comes from the fruit of your effort, the visible evidence of your dedication. You don't have to tell people you're committed when they can see your progress. You don't have to convince people of your vision when the outcomes start to reveal themselves. The beauty of results is that they transform silence into power. The world is filled with voices, debates, and arguments. Everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has results, and the difference is clear. Opinions fade, but results remain. Explanations get forgotten, but results are remembered. The person who keeps working, who keeps building, who keeps showing up without needing to defend themselves, becomes undeniable. They may ignore you in the beginning, They may laugh at you in the middle, but when the results arrive, they have no choice but to acknowledge you. That's why patience matters. That's why silence matters, because results take time. Seeds do not turn into trees overnight. But when you remain steady, when you resist the urge to waste breath on convincing people, the harvest eventually comes. And when it does, there's no argument left to make. The result itself becomes the answer, the evidence, the explanation. Discipline in silence equals true power. Silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of control. It's the ability to resist the urge to react, to stay calm when everything around you is calling for a response, to hold your ground when people are trying to pull you into chaos. Anybody can speak out of anger, anybody can clap back, anybody can defend themselves when they feel provoked. But it takes a rare strength, a deep discipline, to remain quiet and let your composure speak for you. That's real power. When you choose silence, you are not choosing weakness. You are choosing strategy. You're saying, I don't give my energy to every battle. I don't waste my breath on every critic. I don't sacrifice my peace just to prove a point. Discipline in silence means you're not controlled by your emotions. You're in charge of them. And when you control your emotions, you control the situation. People expect reaction, they expect noise, they expect defense. But when you don't give them that, you disrupt the entire script. Silence unsettles those who thrive on conflict. This kind of discipline doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice to bite your tongue when you could speak, to walk away when you could fight, to stay focused when distractions are loud. It takes strength to let your work, your consistency, your results speak instead of rushing to explain yourself. But every time you succeed at holding your peace, you gain more control over your life. You stop being a puppet to circumstances and start becoming the master of them. Discipline in silence also protects your vision. Too often, people share their plans with everyone, and in doing so, they invite doubt, negativity, and distraction. But when you keep things quiet, when you move in silence, you give your goals room to grow without interference. Not every seed should be exposed to the wind too soon. Not every dream is ready for public conversation. Silence becomes the shield that guards what you're building until it's strong enough to stand on its own. And in relationships, silence can be just as powerful. You don't need to argue endlessly to prove you're right. You don't need to beg for someone to understand your worth. Sometimes the best statement you can make is no statement at all. Silence communicates dignity, self-respect, and unshakable confidence. It says, I am not moved by pressure, I am not swayed by noise, I am anchored in who I am. That kind of discipline turns silence into a weapon, not of destruction, but of authority. It shows that true power doesn't always roar, it often whispers, and in that whisper lies undeniable strength. Chasing drains, stillness attracts. When you are constantly running after people, opportunities, or validation, you are pouring energy out without receiving anything back. It is exhausting, it is discouraging, and it often leaves you feeling smaller than when you started. Chasing is born out of fear. The fear that if you don't run after it, you'll miss it. The fear that if you don't beg for it, it won't come. The fear that you are not enough unless you prove yourself. But the truth is, desperation pushes things away. When you chase too hard, you signal lack. You communicate that you believe you don't already deserve it, and life responds to that energy by keeping it out of reach. Stillness, on the other hand, is powerful. Stillness is not laziness. It is not inaction. Stillness is composure. It is the confidence to know that what is meant for you will find you. It is moving with intention, not rushing with panic. It is working on yourself, sharpening your craft, building your foundation, but not throwing yourself at every door hoping one will open. Stillness says, I am prepared, I am patient, I am positioned, and that energy attracts the right things. Think about how nature works. A flower does not chase the bee. It simply blooms. Its stillness, its natural fragrance, its quiet presence draws the bee toward it. The ocean does not chase rivers, it waits, and the rivers find their way to it. The sun does not beg to be noticed, yet everything turns toward its light. That's how your life works when you stop chasing and start standing in stillness. You naturally attract the people, the opportunities, and the situations that align with who you are. When you chase, you